Hello, everyone, and welcome to one more Comidor webinar. My name is Anastasia Vierinou. I'm marketing manager at Comidor, and we are very happy to have you all with us today. Today's session is titled From Digital to Autonomous, Driving the Future of Business with AI. In the next 45 minutes, Comidor experts are going to explore how businesses can move beyond the traditional digital transformation and start building adaptive, intelligent, and future-ready operation. We are joined today by three excellent speakers from the Comidor team. First of all, George Spiroglou, Chief Growth Officer at Comidor and owner of the Intelligent Transformation Program. George Philaktopoulos, CTO at Comidor with 20 years of experience in engineering, IT project management, and process optimization. And Michael Skolarikis, CIO of Comidor and technology leader with 15 years of experience delivering scalable, demanding solutions. Let me quick walk you through today's agenda. So we will begin looking at the shift from digital to autonomous operation and what it means to build an adaptive and intelligent business. Then we will explore business cases where AI and automation are already delivering significant results. After that, we will open the floor to your questions in the Q&A session, but you can submit your questions at any time, either through the Q&A or directly in the chat. We will also launch a short poll during the Q&A session to better understand your level of AI maturity and the areas that you are most interested in transforming. So please take a few seconds to participate when it appears. So let's begin our journey from digital to autonomous. And with that, I will hand it over to George Spiroglou to get us started.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Let me start by setting the stage for today's discussion. So over the past decade, most organizations have gone through some level of digital transformation. We have digitized documents, automated tasks, streamlined processes, and many of us have made significant progress in this area. But today we're standing at the threshold of a new phase, a new era that goes far beyond simply making processes digital. We are now entering what we can call the era of the autonomous business. And this isn't happening by accident or through small incremental shifts. It is a movement that is almost entirely driven by the rapid evolution of artificial intelligence. AI has moved from being an experimental technology to one that actively shapes business models, customer experiences, operational efficiency, and ultimately the way we're doing business. So it's no longer enough for systems to just store information or move tasks from one step to another, which was digital. It's no longer enough to automate a single repetitive process, which was early automation. The real opportunity, the real shift we're exploring today is about systems that can actually understand, reason, learn, and act with greater independence, far greater independence. And this is what we mean by the move from digital to autonomous. And understanding this shift is essential for leaders who want to prepare their organizations for the next wave of innovation. So let's start by addressing the key question, why does autonomy matter now? The answer is quite simple because the complexity of modern business is exceeding traditional systems, human-driven processes, and ultimately the capabilities of simple automation. In every industry, the speed of change has accelerated, and a variety of reasons are driving this change. First of all, data volumes grow exponentially, customer expectations shift faster and become more complex, and also operational demands increase beyond what teams can manually manage. If you put all of this together, one thing becomes clear. This is that organizations that will thrive in the next decade are the ones capable of going well beyond traditional automation. These organizations will embrace systems that don't just follow rules, but actually understand context. Systems that learn from interactions and make informed decisions based on real-time data. Systems that evolve without requiring constant human intervention. So this is the autonomous enterprise that we're talking about. Now, the meaning of an adaptive, intelligent, future-ready business. Let's break down what this really means. So when we talk about becoming a business like this, adaptive, intelligent, future-ready, we are referring to organizations that operate more like living systems than just rigid machines. We are referring to organizations that can respond to unexpected events and, most importantly, optimize themselves based on data and detect anomalies and predict outcomes before they happen. Let's put it this way. Instead of reacting to problems once they're already caused by a disruption, a business that is or considers itself autonomous foresees those issues early on, as much as possible, and tries to adjust automatically. If you look at the core components of an autonomous business, which are data, intelligent workflows, decisions, continuous learning, AI actually is what combines all of this, what brings all of this together. It's, let's call it the engine that brings everything together. So AI transforms what would be typically a static workflow into a dynamic system, a system that is responsive. It turns data into insights, insights into decisions, decisions into actions. By doing that over and over again, finally, it is improving the way we're doing business, and it also is improving itself. So with every cycle that it completes. This is what makes a business actually truly future ready. Now, the core components of autonomous businesses, if we want to focus on them, are actually four. First, an autonomous business relies on systems that can sense what is happening across processes, data, customer interactions, pretty much everything that is happening in the business. And this sensing capability is also the foundation that tells the business what's going on in, well, ideally in real time. The next component is the ability to decide. This is where AI-driven logic, business rules, and contextual understanding come together. And altogether, they help determine what is the best next action. Not rule-based setup, as it was the case before, but an informed decision that is actually thoughtful. And of course, these decisions only matter if the system can actually act. So this is the whole point of actually executing workflows and getting responses, triggering responses, and adjusting operations as we go almost instantly, without the need, of course, for human intervention. And finally, there's the ability to learn, and this is crucial. So learning means learning from the information that has been processed by understanding patterns, but by identifying patterns, improving with every cycle, and actually building experience. And without learning, of course, you might have automation, but you will never have autonomy. When we bring these four components together, sensing, deciding, acting, and learning, we create the business that doesn't just automate, but it continuously adapts and evolves. And actually, these are the components that move an organization from digital to autonomous. Now, if we want to look at some of the big trends that are actually pushing businesses towards autonomy, the first one would be that AI adoption has already taken off. So the companies are not just experimenting anymore. They're actually using AI. They run part of their operations on their own through AI. And that shift from automation to autonomous decision-making is happening already. It's happening fast, and it's already here. We're also seeing a lot of growth in process mining and intelligence. So this gives organizations a clear view of what's really happening inside their business, where things slow down, what are the bottlenecks, and actually it helps them spot exactly where artificial intelligence can make the biggest difference. Another important trend is augmented workforce. So people now are using AI. They have AI tools available to support them day to day, taking care of the repetitive tasks, the mundane tasks of their day-to-day work, so that they can focus on work that really matters, on whatever is more strategic, and whatever ultimately is more fulfilling, if I may add. Then we have machine customers, systems that can interact with businesses, place orders, request services automatically. It might sound futuristic, but it's already starting to show up in real use cases. So this is actually already happening. And finally, all of this is actually forming, it's contributing towards what we call the programmable economy. So where workflows, decisions, and even transactions can be automated in real time. Altogether, these trends are creating the perfect environment for businesses to become truly autonomous. Now, how does AI actually accelerate intelligent transformation? And the key idea here is that AI connects all the pieces that used to operate separately. So it starts with automation, taking the repetitive, rule-based tasks and handling them quickly and effectively. But automation alone is not enough, and this is where AI steps in. So AI brings insights. It analyzes data, it spots patterns, highlights what's really happening in the process of the customer interactions, and those insights feed into learning, where the system improves over time. It gets better at predictions and recommendations ultimately, and hopefully also actions. All this ultimately leads to autonomy, systems that don't just follow instructions, but can make informed decisions and trigger actions on their own. And it creates a continuous loop where the business becomes smarter, faster, more adaptive. Of course, there are challenges in AI adoption. And before we move deeper into what AI could enable, it's important to understand also what are the real challenges that the organizations are facing when trying to adopt it. What we will go through is not exhaustive, but it is based on our understanding, a good overview of what are the challenges. And of course, there might be more here. So the first challenge is siloed data and disconnected systems. Most companies have data spread across different tools, Excel sheets, departments, many different systems, legacy systems. And the real issue is that if AI cannot access clean, connected data sources, clean data, it simply cannot deliver anything meaningful. So this is one of the major issues that we are facing again and again. Second, there's often a lack of internal AI expertise or governance. So teams may not have the skills or may not yet have the structures in place to responsibly manage AI initiatives. This typically is slowing things down. It's creating uncertainty about where to start, how to progress, and how to actually translate a vision into tangible steps. The third challenge is scaling. So many organizations can get a pilot working, but taking that pilot and turning it into real enterprise-wide value-generating application is much more difficult. Integration, together with change management, of course, are two of the main challenges that fall under scaling. And finally, there is the misalignment between strategy and technology. So leadership might have ambitious goals for AI, but if the technical foundation of the company doesn't exist or is not following, the ideas will never really take off. These challenges are very common. They're absolutely solvable. I mean, with the right approach, with the right platform, with the right partners. This is something that AI can, the company can overcome in order to adopt AI. Now, on this slide, we're talking about something that is absolutely critical for successful AI adoption, which is to bridge the gap between strategy and execution. A lot of companies have big ambitions when it comes to AI, but they struggle to come up with a clear path towards AI adoption, and even more to turn those ambitions into real actions and real outcomes and real impact. So this is where intelligent business transformation comes in. It acts as the strategic enabler that connects vision with practical delivery. It helps organizations bridge the space between technology and consulting. It helps combine deep processes understanding with the tools and capabilities that are required to actually make things happen. Another key characteristic of the approach is that it builds a repeatable, scalable, outcome-driven AI roadmap. So instead of having isolated pilots, isolated initiatives, you get a structured path that can grow across teams and processes. And finally, the whole approach is modular, tech-enabled, and of course, this is an end-to-end solution, meaning that companies can start where they are, plug in what they need, and expand over time. So essentially, this is about making AI real and not just another strategy on paper. Here, I'd like to focus on the outcomes. So what organizations actually gain when they take a structured, intelligent approach to AI adoption. So first, you consolidate strategy, technology, and execution into one place. This alignment removes the disconnect that often slows transformation down, and it makes sure that everything is pulling in the right direction, in the same direction at least. Next, you get real operational cost reductions. So automation eliminates repetitive work, minimizes errors, frees up teams to focus on higher values activities, and depending on how you look at it, those efficiencies quickly add up and are very, very realistic. You also enable data-driven decision-making, which means that decisions are not taken anymore on gut feeling, but are rather being informed by insights, by real-time data. So you have real-time visibility when the management or leadership is making decisions. And finally, you end up creating empowered employees and improving customer experience. So when the teams have the right tools and customers are using those tools, are coming in touch with those tools, more personalized services are being offered, customers are happier, so pretty much everyone wins. So what does all of this lead to? It leads to businesses that are faster, smarter, and autonomous ready. To make this even more concrete, the next part of the session will walk you through a series of real case studies, and we will go through some examples that will show how these results play out in practice. But for this, I will hand the speech to my colleague, George. Thank you very much from my side.
Thank you, George Spyroglou. So, George Philactopoulos, over to you.
Thank you, Anastasia. Hi, everyone. My name is George Philactopoulos. I am the CTO of Commodore. And in the following slides, we will explore some of the AI-related case studies that we have implemented in Commodore. Now, let's start with one of our most impactful, let's say, AI case studies, the intelligent customer request management solution. So what was happening until now is that our client support team was spending every day manually reading and categorizing incoming customer emails. Requests were often misrouted, they were delayed or handled by the wrong department, and this led to slower response times and lower customer satisfaction. With Commodore's AI-powered automation, we transformed this process completely. Incoming emails are now automatically analyzed using machine learning classification models, instantly detecting the request type. And on top of that, we apply sentiment analysis to understand the tone and the urgency of each message, whether, for example, it's a frustrated customer or if it's a neutral inquiry. The system then can automatically assign its ticket to the right group or agent, ensuring that the right people take action immediately. The result is that the client reduced ticket handling time by over 60%, minimizing human errors and improved response quality and prioritization. Essentially, AI turned a reactive manual support process into a proactive and intelligent one. In the following slide, we can see the redesigned process in Commodore's BPM engine. This is the AI-driven workflow that powers the new customer request management. The process, as you can see, starts with a new customer email arriving, and instead of going directly to a shared inbox, it's now passing through an AI pre-processing stage, where the machine learning classifier first analyzes the content and automatically identifies the request type, whether it's a technical issue or a billing question or a feedback or anything else. After that, the sentiment analysis component evaluates the tone and emotion of the message, helping the system to detect if the customer is satisfied, neutral, or upset. Based on both classification and sentiment, the workflow automatically assigns the case to the right team, for example, the technical support team for issues or the customer success for complaints, and sets the priority level for urgent cases. Finally, the assigned team receives a fully enriched ticket complete with AI generated insights and recommended actions, ready to respond faster and more accurately. What's powerful here is that the entire process runs end to end with very limited human intervention, yet every decision is fully traceable within the BPM model, giving everyone the visibility, the control, and the auditability of all AI-driven actions. Now, let's move on to the second case study, which is the intelligent document approval solution. This project focused on automating the supplier invoice approvals across a large group of companies. The original process was incredibly complex because it had many sub-companies with different workflows, different approval levels, conditional rules, routing paths, and every time the organizational structure or policy changed, the workflows had to be manually redesigned and redeployed. And this meant, of course, high maintenance costs, a lot of repetitive configuration, delays in approval cycles, and not to mention the frustration of users who never knew what exactly and where exactly the invoice stood in the process. With Commodore's new AI-driven approach, we simplified this dramatically. Instead of maintaining dozens of static workflow models, the system now uses an LLM that dynamically determines the next approval steps. So when an invoice enters the system, Commodore sends the invoice details, the business rules, and the organizational hierarchy as a prompt to the LLM. The model evaluates the context, for example, the invoice amount, the department, the supplier, and intelligently decides who should approve next. This shift completely eliminates the need of maintaining workflow diagrams. The process adapts automatically to changes in structure, roles, or policies, and the result is a single approval flow that's flexible, consistent, and much easier to manage. With faster approvals, of course, reduced human errors, and zero configuration effort as the organization evolves. This slide really captures the evolution of the approval process because on the left side you can see the old system, which is a maze of manual forms, complicated BPM workflows. Every company has dozens of conditions, approvals, and paths. Users often got lost in the process, of course. They didn't know which step was next or why an invoice was stuck in someone's queue. And on the right side, you have the new AI-driven process. You can immediately see the difference. The entire flow is simplified into just a few core steps. Those are the document submission, the AI evaluation, and the automatic routing to the next approver. Instead of dozens of static rules, the LLM can dynamically interpret the organizational policies and structure and decide the optimal route in real time. No need to maintain multiple workflows or manually configure the approval chains. The system adapts automatically as roles or hierarchies change. The result is a process that's cleaner, faster, and far easier to maintain, but still compliant and auditable. In short, what used to be a complex, hard-coded workflow has now become an intelligent, context-aware approval engine. Now, our third case comes from the financial sector, an asset management company that manages thousands of client portfolios every month. The challenge they faced here is that every month their systems produce more than 11,000 PDF portfolio statements for individual clients. Those PDFs contain critical financial data like balances, transactions, performance metrics, and each one had to be validated manually against an Excel report, which was exported from their master system. This manual process was not only time-consuming, but also error-prone. Analysts had to open, compare, and verify data line by line, a task that took days to complete and introduced risk of human mistakes in financial reporting. Using Commodore's AI-powered document automation, we re-engineered this process. The solution automatically reads and extracts data from the PDF portfolios using intelligent document processing models trained to recognize financial fields. Then the system cross-validates the extracted data against the Excel file from the master system. It checks for mismatches, anomalies, or missing values, and any discrepancies are automatically flagged for review, while consistent portfolios are approved automatically without any human intervention. The result is that the company automated over 90% of the validation workload. It reduced effort from several days to just a few hours, and achieved a new level of accuracy and compliance. In short, AI transformed a very repetitive, high-risk operation into something more smart, fully auditable, and efficient. Here we can see how the new AI workflow operates within Commodore. The process begins with a monthly batch of 11,000 portfolio statements, which are automatically uploaded or received from the report system. The workflow triggers our AI document processing engine, which scans its PDF and extracts the financial data points like portfolio ID, client data, total values, asset balances, etc. Once the data is extracted, it's automatically matched and validated against the reference Excel file coming from the company's master system. It basically compares all critical values, identifies the missing data, it marks its portfolio as validated or requiring review. If everything matches, the process moves straight forward to the automatic approval. If not, the workflow routes the exception to the appropriate analyst for a manual verification, but only for those cases that have a problem, not for all 11,000. And finally, all results are logged and stored within the platform for auditability and reporting. So this workflow combines the power of AI data extraction and rule-based automation, achieving near zero errors with 90% reduction, as we said, in the manual effort. Our final case study showcases how we are using AI to enhance the user experience inside Commodore through an intelligent chatbot trained on real processes built with a low-code BPM platform that Commodore offers. The challenge we wanted to solve was simple but still powerful. How can users interact with the Commodore environment in a natural conversational way? The result is the Commodore AI Assistant, which is an intelligent chatbot integrated into the platform, which is not just a chat tool. It's trained on actual Commodore processes, meaning that it understands the organizational charts, the workflows, the terminology, and the context. So users could ask questions like, what's the status of an invoice approval process, or show me all pending processes from last week, and things like that. Beyond that, the assistant supports document summarization. It can instantly read a long report, a PDF document, or anything else, or a policy document, and deliver a clear summary. It includes file and knowledge search, allowing users to retrieve documents, workflow details simply by asking in natural language. And in short, it turned Commodore from a platform you use into a platform you can talk to.
Thank you, George. And now to continue, I would like to hand things over to Michael Skolarikis.
Hi, everyone. I am Michael Skolarikis, the CIO of Commodore, and I'm the third and last presenter for today. So thanks for still being with us. You have already heard a lot about what is possible with AI. I want to close by bringing it down to earth and sharing how we actually use it in our own work. The messy parts included, not just the shiny results. We are living in very exciting times for AI, but also in a time where we have to be thoughtful. It's not enough to throw a model at a problem and just hope for the best. We have to think about the people using it, about trust, about how it fits into real business processes that already exist. At Commodore, the way we deal with this change is with a kind of two-speed approach. On one side, our core product teams focus on keeping the main platform solid and secure, improving it step by step. In parallel, we run smaller exploration streams where we prototype AI use cases for ourselves and with selected forward-looking customers. Those streams give us the space to experiment, to fail fast, and to learn. When something proves real value and is safe and repeatable, it gradually moves into the core platform. This is how we balance incremental improvement with more radical change. Now, let me show you what that looks like in practice with two stories from these exploration streams. The first story is an internal IT support assistant. This one started with a very honest admission. We were not good at documentation. We had tried again and again to keep high quality documentation and we kept failing. And I mean all kinds of documentation, platform documentation, documentation for new features and APIs, troubleshooting guides for known issues, project documentations, lesson learned, and even internal how-to notes used for our own teams. It was always the same pattern. People were busy, priorities moved, and documentation fell behind reality. So the initial idea was quite simple. What if we had an assistant that writes the documentation for us and keeps it up to date? We imagined something like a very disciplined teammate who never gets tired of writing. Very quickly, we hit the first wall. We realized that in most of the cases, the knowledge we wanted to capture did not really exist in a nice digital format. It was in our heads and in our conversations, but it was systematically transferred between people in meetings. So we changed the approach. We started to record our meetings. We used AI models to automatically transcribe them, and then we trained the agents on that content so they could draft documentation based on what we really discussed. Because the amount of data is large and keeps growing, we did not just want a simple search engine, so we followed a more bottom-up approach. We built a system where the agents do not only look up information, they summarize, generalize, and extract key information, and then they store that information in a connected structure. You might have heard it as a knowledge graph. In business terms, you can think of it as turning all these scattered conversations into an evolving company brain. It knows how concepts relate, who owns what, which steps solve which type of issue. And AI agents can reliably tap into that brain to write documentation or to answer troubleshooting questions. From a user perspective, it is integrated in our internal messaging application. So our teams use Discord, but it's straightforward to integrate with Teams or Slack or whatever. So people ask it questions. It reads and analyzes past conversations. It automatically creates structured documentation. And it answers questions instantly based on everything it has learned. From my side, this project was really encouraging because once we treated our internal knowledge as connected data, not as static documents, it opened the door to agents that genuinely help our teams every day. Now, the second story is about an intelligent HR bot, or more broadly, a policy agent. Before building this for a customer, we had already created a similar policy agent internally to help us with ISO 27001 policies and procedures. For anyone who's not familiar with it, that is the ISO standard for information security. It comes with a lot of rules and documents that people rarely want to read end to end, but everyone must follow. Anyway, the challenge for the HR case was very similar in spirit. The HR team was flooded with repeated questions about insurance, about leave entitlements, benefits, about what to do in a specific situation. And many of these questions arrived outside HR office hours. Employees expected fast, accurate answers on their phone, not an email 3 hours later. So the problem statement was simple. Too many manual, repetitive HR inquiries. HR overloaded, employees frustrated. So we built a mobile application that all employees can install. Inside that app, there is an HR bot that you can talk to in natural language, day or night. At the beginning, the bot could answer general policy questions. What does the parental leave policy say? How many days of a specific type of leave exist? What are the steps if there's an incident? We then connected it to the company's internal HR systems and, where needed, to external regulatory sources. Once we had those connections in place, the agent could go beyond generic answers and provide personalized information. So instead of "here is the policy on leave," it could say, "you personally have 13 remaining days of annual leave and 2 remaining days of training leave this year." It could perform actions on behalf of the user, things like submitting a new leave request, checking its approval status, updating emergency contact details, or generating a certificate of employment, or opening a ticket for a payroll issue. Behind the scenes, we treat this as what we call agentic AI. Not just a single chatbot, but a coordinated set of agents. One focuses on understanding the question, another decides whether it is only an information request or whether an action is needed. Others are responsible for calling the right system safely. Of course, once you allow an AI-driven system to touch HR processes, governance becomes even more important than cleverness. So, we invested heavily in provenance, explainability, and trust. Every answer the bot gives is tied back to a clear source. For example, the specific clause in the HR policy or the exact record in the HR system. Users can see where the answer came from. And we always include a short explanation in plain language, and not just you cannot do this, but you cannot do this because Section 3.2 of the travel policy requires manager approval for this type of expense. That makes it much easier for employees to accept the answer even when it is a no. On the administration side, HR and compliance teams have their own view. They can configure how the agent responds, update its knowledge, and review and audit conversations. They see where users are satisfied or not. They can run tests and regression checks so that when a new version of the bot is released, its behavior is consistent and safe. If something does go wrong, there is an audit trail to investigate. And of course, we also apply moderation and guardrails. The agent is not allowed to answer outside its scope. It cannot invent new policies. And for sensitive actions, it may ask for an explicit confirmation or route the request to a human. So, to wrap up, across both stories, the internal IT support assistant and the HR policy agent, the common thread is this. AI becomes truly useful when it is grounded in your real business data and processes, and when it operates inside the network of agents that can both retrieve information and take responsible action. It's not magic, it's careful design of how you capture knowledge, how you connect it, how you expose it to agents, and how you build in provenance, explainability, and trust. That is the journey we are on. Thank you for your attention, and I will be happy to take questions later.
Thank you, Michael. As we have seen, trusted AI built on real knowledge delivers real results. So this brings us to our Q&A session. Your questions are welcome both in the Q&A and the chat. At the same time, I will launch now the poll, so please take a few moments to participate in that. Okay, let's see the first question. Hello, thank you all for the presentation. I wanted to ask two things. For complex invoices approval workflows, what are the requirements to ensure the AI model runs accurately as soon as possible? Okay, let's go first with that. Mr. George Philactopoulos, would you like to answer that?
Yes, let me take that answer. So the first thing that we must do is provide the model with clean and complete organizational data. The model needs an up-to-date organizational chart to know the approval roles, the business rules, and any missing or outdated hierarchy information will affect, of course, the routing accuracy. The next thing is that it needs clear approval policies or thresholds. The policies such as authorization limits, conditional paths, or some exceptions. When these are expressed clearly in the prompt or configuration, the LLM can take correct decisions from day one. Then we need to have consistent invoice metadata. The data coming from the invoices like department, cost center, amount, category, etc. They must be reliable. And of course, we need a set of high-quality examples, a few sort of guidance. Providing a few real-world examples of who should approve what accelerates the model's understanding. And this can dramatically improve the accuracy without requiring long training cycles. So I believe these are the elements. With these elements in place, the LLM can perform reliably almost immediately, eliminating the need for building phases and ensuring, of course, a fast, high accuracy approval.
Okay, thank you, George. Let's move on to the second question from the same person. So, which one across the cases you presented or any other cases you have automated with AI deliver the fastest ROI? And if you can explain what made it so in comparison to the other cases. I don't know, George, would you like?
Yeah, I'll take that too. So I believe that across the cases that we have seen or others that we have developed, the solution with the fastest ROI is the intelligent customer request management. The reason is because it delivered basically immediate value. It automated tasks that are happening every single day, reading, categorizing, routing incoming mails. It's something that everyone does. The ML classification model and the sentiment analysis removed hundreds of manual touch points from this process. And also, there was no major restructuring or long implementation phases. It's not required. The AI plugged in directly into the existing support flow. The impact was visible from day one. We had faster response times, fewer misrouted tickets, and more consistent prioritization. And the most important is that the time savings were realized literally within the first week. And this make it the quickest, most direct ROI from all the AI-driven projects.
Great. Thank you, George. Let me move on with the second question. We saw application in different areas. What other areas do you believe are ready for AI agents to create value? Michael, would you like to address this question?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Apart from the case we just saw, perhaps, well, actually, it's a booming ecosystem. We see new cases every day, right? Perhaps the one that we see the most is the customer support agent or the IT help desk agent. We see that all around us. It's becoming harder every day to get support and talk with a human agent. Of course, apart from that, there are sales agents, sales operation agents, which help with lead scoring, for example, or which automate CRM updates. In marketing, content generation is primarily made by agents. We all know that. The HR agent is a really hot case, and not just as a policy agent, but also for CV summarization and shortlisting, decision making, and also other agents. We give legal advice or search legal documents, regulations, things like that. But there is a catch there, especially with the EU AI Act. It's nice to mention that too. There are some high risk operations with AI. So high risk refers to AI systems that have a significant impact on people's rights or safety. These are permitted but are heavily regulated because you understand mistakes can meaningfully affect someone's life. So you have to have strict safeguards, high quality data, audit logs, and things like that. And of course, another area is our industry in development. Code development, maintenance, DevOps automations. We see huge steps made every day with autonomous coding agents. These are just, let's say, the most hot cases at the moment, but we see AI getting everywhere.
Okay, so there's a question. What exactly is included in the intelligent transformation program? George Spiroglou, would you like?
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So what we call intelligent transformation program is a program that consists of a short diagnostic or design, as we call it, phase that is meant for us to understand what the status quo of the business is. So what is the current automation level? What is the aspiration where the company wants to be in 2, 3, or 5 years from now? By executing specific sessions with all the key stakeholders and also by utilizing, of course, best practices, we are developing what we call an intelligent transformation roadmap. So this is a set of actions, a set of initiatives that need to be implemented in order to realize the vision. And then, of course, after that phase, that design phase, we engage directly in the implementation of those initiatives. So we agree on the sequencing of the initiatives, and we start the implementation by leveraging all the different aspects that were mentioned before. So this could be focusing on certain processes, could be including also AI elements like machine learning components, like agents, and that is actually an end-to-end program that enables to define the intelligent transformation roadmap, and together with that, an AI adoption roadmap, and also enable the client to implement it.
Okay, thank you, George. Let me see, there's one question in the chat. So, what do you suggest as a first step for an analog company with relatively poor data quality? Agentic AI is the future, but feels a long way away for us. Is there any small scale project or implementation which, in your experience, could generate that early momentum? And the note, in the context of maintenance planning, scheduling, inventory management, field service, and CRM. Okay.
I can take that, Anastasia.
Okay.
It's not something that is rare. Most of the companies, many companies actually are in that case where they have poor data quality. However, this doesn't mean that they cannot take advantage of small gains using AI. We showed some of the cases. For example, the customer support. We can easily build a system like that using AI agents. In all the cases, we can build agents using the data wherever they reside. In a CRM system, even in an Excel file, we can take data from not very digital resources and build agents or build workflows using AI services that would improve the company as a whole.
Okay, thank you, George. Okay. Let me check if there is another question. Okay, in the meantime, I'm ending the poll. So I can also share the results if you want to see the answers. I don't know, are there any other questions? Okay, so in any case, we will be happy to address any questions that you may have via email. So you can send any question at this email, customer.success@commodore.com. Thank you all for joining today. I will hope this session gave you a clear view of the path from digital to autonomous business and how AI processes data people work together to make it real. We appreciate your time and your engagement, and we look forward to continuing the conversation. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.